Jerry Mason, the Kickin Lawyer, and we're here for another Law Talk. As always, I want to remind you to like, follow, subscribe, comment, and love all the content. We are on all social media platforms, podcast platforms, YouTube, TikTok, you name it, you can find us. So please check that out. It really helps us out, helps algorithms push our content because we do this for your love, for the love. And then, of course, if you haven't downloaded Inside My Head, the album by N.A. the Band, please do so. That's some local guys we're trying to support. It's a great album. They got a second album I think they're working on now, so make sure you check them out. And Michelle Allen is a longtime sponsor of our show, and if you're going to buy, sell, rent, lease real estate in the area, she'd be glad to help you out. She also give you general direction on the community. She's just a good person, and we love Michelle. And, of course, Mason's High Octane Martial Arts have been located in Covington for 30 years. We just opened a Millington location. Visit masonsmartialarts.com for more information. JM Books and Records is a new company that we're hoping to have open soon on the Covington Square. New and used books and records, so you can check us out. And then last but not least, Masonite Digital Marketing. Josh will be glad to help you with commercials, branding, social media, etc. Just check him out at masonitemarketing.com. And joining me today is none other than the Masonite himself, my brother from the same mother, Josh Mason.
What's up? I totally didn't just sit down. I've been here this whole time.
Exactly. It's been the whole time. It's the magic of
the magic of editing.
Magic of the video. We've got a new Josh producer over there now. It's Madeline. Is Madeline's mic working?
Yeah.
You can talk in the mic, Madeline.
I can talk to you?
Yeah. We can hear you.
Who's Joe Rogan's person?
You're Jamie today.
Jamie. Yeah, you're Jamie today.
Yeah. Do you feel like Jamie back there?
I can make you sick. Just go back and forth. Can I do explosions and stuff?
I'm sure there's buttons for that.
I'm sure there's somewhere, yeah.
So what's up, Josh?
I'm doing good.
Why don't you do this? Because we've had you on, obviously, before, and I talk to you all the time. I'm sure everybody watching kind of knows who you are. So why don't you tell people your opinion, and I'll give mine too, on if they were going to start a podcast, what they need or what they should do.
I would say start off with really good equipment, because that was a mistake we made early on, and that was more on you, I feel like, than me, because I kind of was telling you early on. I was like, oh, this is all garbage. We need to get better stuff. And then finally, after a little while, you listened to me and got the good mics and the good mic arms.
But if they can't, if they don't have the budget for anything, like obviously we've grown in time, and I'm talking, which is normally when you would switch the camera to me. So you got to pay attention. That's the problem. That's the problem Austin had. One of us get to talking, he wouldn't pay attention, and it's not getting swapped. Anyway, they may not have a budget.
It's not all about you, Jerry.
Yeah, I know that, but that's kind of the whole point of having the double cameras, right? Anyway, if they don't have a budget, what should they do?
I mean, you can get affordable stuff. If you're doing a podcast where it's just you and your she's still hanging out. There we go. There I am.
It's a hard job, Josh.
It is.
She's actually proven that maybe you serve a purpose.
That's right. Yeah. No, I think that if you don't have a big budget and you're just trying to get together with your friends, you can use like StreamYard or some of those online services where you can just kind of sit in front of your computer with a webcam, and you and your other buddies can all be together on the different screens or whatever and do a podcast that way and just talk about whatever. So I mean, nowadays everyone has access to the technology and the ability to do a podcast, even if it's low budget. So my biggest advice for anything, whether it's podcast or like the filmmaking stuff that I do, or music, or any type of creative endeavor or professional endeavor, if you're looking to become a lawyer or whatever it is you're trying to do in life, is consistency. I think being consistent with stuff is far more important in some regards than even necessarily being good at whatever it is that you're trying to do. Because I've seen it happen with YouTubers, podcasters, musicians, whatever. They'll do a couple things, they don't get a following, or they're not getting the view count that they want, or this or that, and then after a few episodes, they just stop doing it. They're just like, oh well, I'm just gonna give up and not try this anymore. And so for me, I've been doing the YouTube stuff for years now, and I didn't get my first 100,000 plus viewed video until just 4 years ago. And I'd been doing it for 10 years prior to that. So, just consistency. Consistency is key. Your first podcast is going to be terrible. Your first video is going to be terrible. The first anything you do is going to be terrible. But your 100th is going to be a lot better. And then your 200th is going to be even better than that. And you pick up the skills along the way, and you pick up an audience along the way. And eventually, as long as you stick with it and you're persistent, you can succeed at anything. I believe in that fervently.
Yeah, well, and I guess success is relative on whether you can succeed. I do think that you're right. I think consistency is important. I'm on what you need on a podcast, though. I have a slightly different opinion. I started what I was doing on, I guess, my YouTube channel with my laptop in my living room, and I just recorded myself ranting about, I think it was Board of Education information rights at the time is what it was about. And anyway, I ranted, edited it myself. I don't even think it had an intro on it, and then posted it. And of course, it was like you say, it was terrible. It was crappy. I mean, the information was good, but the video quality and all was crappy. And then, of course, over time, we were consistent to where I was doing at least one a week, and then it got to where we started to do guests, and then we, of course, have a studio and all these different things. So my point is, I agree with you in that it's consistency and that you just need to do it. But I don't think that you need to have fancy equipment in the beginning. I think you just need to do it. And if you enjoy it, you'll grow and become better as you do it. It'll morph into whatever, which is something that I want to talk with you probably right after the break about some ideas I have to ramp this up. And then I have another idea for something that I want us to start ramping up. But it's all just, levels to it, I think. Hey, so I've asked you this before, I think, but it didn't hurt to repeat. On your movie stuff, well, I guess tell everybody where your channel is, what we're talking about when we say you do these movies, because you have a couple of different things, the fan films and all this stuff.
So I own Mason Studios, which is an independent film studio and YouTube channel. So it's Mason Studios on YouTube, and we're right at the doorstep of 3,000 subscribers. So go subscribe to it, like right now. 3,000. It might be 3,000 by the time people watch this, but anyway. I've been making independent films for 17, 18 years now. And it started as just more like original independent films, and then it grew into fan films because I would go to these comic conventions to promote the film studio. And then while I was there, I would film like cosplayers and do cosplay music videos, which got me a pretty decent following doing that. And then out of the cosplay music videos, I started casting cosplayers into these various fan films of like Tomb Raider and Super Mario, Legend of Zelda, Star Wars, that kind of stuff. And those really took off and is what I'm now most known for. Even though I, to be honest, prefer doing the original independent films. But, fan films, that's what people watch, so that's what we keep making. But you can find all that stuff on YouTube. We've had some stuff that's had some pretty big recognition. We did a Tomb Raider fan film that got recognition from Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics, which are the publishers and developers of the Tomb Raider video game. So that was a really big deal when that happened. And that's also our most viewed video of all time. And currently, we just recently finished doing a Super Mario Brothers fan film that has been submitted and accepted to a film festival. And hopefully by April, we'll find out the results of that. But we're nominated in 6 categories, including Best Director. So that's exciting. So hopefully, we'll win something, I think, from that. I don't know what. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing it. That's what I'm passionate about. And then, of course, on the side, I run Masonite Digital Marketing, which was kind of a spinoff from doing the filmmaking, because I realized I'd picked up all these video production skills. And with those skills, combined with all the skills I like doing marketing here for the law firm, combining all that and providing those skills to clients to promote their business through commercials or web design, that sort of thing. That's been, a fairly successful business that I'm running on the side as well.
So it sounds like the films, the private films, is what you prefer to do, the independent filmmaking.
Yes, original independent films is my favorite thing to do.
With explosions.
With explosions, that's right, and fast cars and all that kind of stuff.
And we've had this discussion before, but let's do top 3. Previously, I've asked you your favorite film of all time, but let's do top 3 favorite films ever.
Okay. For me, it is number 1 is Michael Bay's Transformers.
Yeah, I knew that
from 2007. I just love that movie. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I think it's the perfect formula. It's all the ingredients of everything that I love in one movie together. It's giant robots fighting. It's Megan Fox. It's a Camaro and all these other fancy cars. It's perfect cinematography. Love the soundtrack. Love Optimus Prime. Love that it's got Linkin Park. It's got the military, shooting guns and blowing stuff up and calling in airstrikes. And I love everything about
Lots
that
of
movie.
lens flares.
Lots of lens flares. That's right. So that's a big one. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I think it's the funniest movie ever made. And then probably, honestly, as another comedy would be in the top 3. Probably Nacho Libre, because I think it is. I think it's probably the second funniest movie ever made. So
Yeah, I like all of those.
Yeah.
I just don't know that they would make my top 3 or 10. They're good movies though. But I think it's kind of like I was talking about with Jeremy, whatever, either next week or this week or last week. I don't know when it's going to post.
yeah, I think it would be the week prior to this one.
Okay,
So I'm after.
Okay,
Jeremy.
so last week when I was talking to Jeremy, I think it's kind of generational, some of that.
Yeah.
So Madeline, top 3 movies.
Hey, Wizard of Oz.
Number 1.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh-huh.
The Family Stone is my favorite Christmas movie.
The Family Stone.
That time of the year. What's another one? It's probably some Matthew McConaughey movie.
So mine would be, you both should know number 1.
Predator.
Predator.
It's in my top 10 for sure.
Predator, Gladiator, Braveheart.
I don't know, but you're not switching your camera.
Jerry.
I would say all 3 of those are probably in my top 10 somewhere.
Predator, yeah. And it used to be Braveheart and Gladiator. And I'm honestly not sure if it still is. Those are definitely up there, though. I was going to throw Terminator in there, too.
I would do Terminator 2. If I had to pick one of all the Terminators, Terminator 2 is the best
I don't know. I agree Terminator 2 overall is probably a better film, but I think for impact, like, and nostalgia, I do like the first one. Like, it was good. I don't know. Man, that's probably close. I'd have to think about it, but those are definitely up there. Definitely in the top. I don't know that I have any comedies, though, in there.
I just like stupid humor. So that's
No,
why
I agree. Hey, did you watch the new Netflix documentary on Monty Python? It's either on
yes.
Netflix or did you watch
I
it?
did, yeah.
I started it. I haven't watched it all yet.
Yeah, it's
You
really
know what? You know what starts tonight on Netflix?
What's that?
Zack Snyder's.
Oh, Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon.
That's right. That does come out
comes out
tonight.
tonight.
Yeah. It's one of those interesting situations because just like a lot of his previous movies, the critics have been very hard on it. But I've seen this happen before though, where the critics will hate a lot of his movies, and then I'll watch them and I'll love them. Like I'll think they're like one of the best movies I've ever seen. So I'm gonna hold off judgment until I watch it. But it's been getting terrible reviews from the critics. But I'll be curious what everybody thinks.
I don't really care so much about the traditional critics. I do kind of ally with the Rotten Tomatoes, you know, that kind of rating thing, sort of, because I think it's kind of audience-based. Yeah, but...
Well, they have both on there. They have the critics' consensus, and then they have the audience score.
Is that the popcorn is one of them?
Yeah, which can drastically be, extremely different from one another, depending on the movie. Because they rarely align. A lot of times you'll have a movie that the critics hate, and then the audience loves, or the audience hates it, and the critics love it, you know?
Yeah, the Justice League, his DC universe grew on me. So I'm excited about Rebel Moon. It's got a lot of hype. It's supposed to be. There's some people saying it's better than Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, it was originally a Star Wars movie. He pitched it to Lucasfilm, and they were like, "Nah, we don't want to do that." And so he was like, "All right, well, I'll just go off and make my own thing." And so Netflix was like, "We'll make it," and so they just reworked it into an original product. But I like his stuff. I love 300. I like 300. 300 is probably my top 10. And then of course, I loved his version of Justice League when he was able to go back and fix it and make it his version. I thought it was a lot better. And I even like, a lot of people hated Batman v Superman. I kind of like Batman v Superman.
Yeah, so, I liked it because it was based off of Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns,
right,
which I was a big fan of. Matter of fact, our dad went to, he had video games in Comic Cavalcade in Millington at the time. It was a comic book store in Millington, and the guy's name was I almost had the guy's name. I can see the guy that owned it at the time. Anyway, I remember he went down there, and the guy sold him a first edition Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns hardcover graphic novel. I still have it, and he brought it to me, and I was scared of it because as a kid, I was 6 or 7. The art and everything was so dark. And like Superman is trying to kill Batman, and Batman's all gray-headed, and it was very dark.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I remember it vividly, and I remember the impression it made on me. And anyway, Batman v Superman is filmed very similar to the way that graphic novel is.
That's what Zack Snyder's so good at. He's very good at translating comic panels from the graphic novels into visual live action on the big screen. So he did it with Batman v Superman. He did it with 300's the most notable one, where it literally, if you read the 300 graphic novel, it's like a storyboard of the 300 movie, because he matched the panels, matched the framing, everything. He tried to emulate what the graphic novel had done. And that's what I've always wanted to do. I always said my dream project would be to get to do, if I had like money was no option, some big studio was like, hey Josh, here's $200 million, go make whatever movie you want. I would want to do a rated R Conan the Barbarian movie, but do it in the visual style similar to 300, but do it in the visual style of Frank Frazetta or Boris Vallejo artwork, but come to life. So of course it'd have to be shot all green screen, but be that style of artwork just visually in motion. And I think that would be like one of the coolest looking movies, ever, if somebody could do that and do it right and do it justice. But Zack Snyder's the best at that. That's what he's known for, is doing those adaptations.
Frank Frazzetti liked the voluptuous ladies.
He did. Yes, he did. He was very, he was very big fan of the ladies. Yeah.
Yes, not the little sticks.
That's right.
The Conan. Hey, that Conan comic book you bought, number one. What grade was that?
It was a 5.5.
5. I was trying to remember, because I've seen there was a 5.5 that come up, because I'm still looking. I almost bought that, and then I saw you wanted to get it, so I was like, let Josh have his dream book. But
you might could still end up with it, because my plan is to upgrade. If I find like a higher grade that I could buy or whatever, then I might.
Well, the price has come down on it some, so you might be able to get at least for the same price, a higher grade.
Yeah, I think the one I got, I paid, which is hard to say because I paid $300 for it, but I had also bought several other books with it, all for $300.
Bundled, yeah.
So it was really under $300 is what I paid for it. But now I think the value of that book at a 5.5 is like $220, probably somewhere in that range. So it's probably worth a little less now than what I paid for. But you know how they go up and down.
They go up and down. It'll all pop back up, especially if they do a Conan, King Conan. I'm hoping they'll do a King Conan.
They need to get on it. Arnold getting on up there in age. They need to hurry up and do it before he passes away.
Well, him and Sly both. I think both of them are going to keep making stuff until it's over with.
Yeah, they will. They won't stop.
So who is your preference of the 1980s action stars? What's number one to you?
It's so hard because I like both. I like Arnold and Stallone. Like, they're both top tier to me. If I had to pick, honestly, between the two, I would say it would have to probably be Stallone. And the reason why is because he succeeded. Unlike Schwarzenegger, where Schwarzenegger was into these other things. He was into bodybuilding. He was into politics. He was also into acting, but that was just like one tier of the stuff he did. Stallone was into exclusively pretty much acting. That was like his main and only thing. And then he even later diverted into directing and was a director. And I think he's actually, a lot of people don't realize this about Stallone, I think he's a more effective director, even more so than an actor, because he did the 2006 Rocky Balboa film. He directed that. He directed the first Expendables. And
well, he wrote all those too.
Yes,
I think he's underrated. Rocky,
writer and director. I should say that. Yeah, he's a writer and director. The earlier Rocky films he didn't direct. Somebody else stepped in. He wrote them, but other people came in and directed. But later on, as he got older, he started doing both writing and directing. And so his ability to do all three, act, write, direct, all that, I think surpasses Arnold's ability to some degree. And he had, Rocky and Rambo, whereas Arnold is pretty much Expendables. He's had
multiple franchises.
I think he's had multiple franchises beyond the number of successful franchises Arnold's had. Arnold's had probably just as many movies, but as far as iconic films, I think Stallone has beat him out as far as the sheer number.
So. I have to go with Arnold, because of the other reasons. Not only was he this super mega star, but he's timeless now. He's been the best at everything he's ever done.
Right.
And honestly, I hate to say it, but I wish he could run for president. I think he would have made a good president.
According to the laws, I guess he technically can't.
Legally, he can't because he's not born here.
But I agree. He would have been a phenomenal president.
I think he did a good job as the governor in California.
Yeah.
I think it surprised a lot of people.
Stallone has been in 45 movies, and Arnold has been in 31. But Arnold has made $4 billion off his movies, and Stallone's made $3 billion.
So monetarily, Arnold still edged him out.
Right.
Which one has killed more people on screen? But it's going to be Stallone, because he's got all them expendable movies.
And he was Rambo. I'm pretty sure.
Well,
killed
in the 80s, though, they went back and forth.
Right.
Literally, he would make one that killed like 100 people.
They also, though, I will say this, as much as I love both of them, they have arguably just as many garbage movies as they do.
Well, they would just do, whatever.
It's just that they have so many iconic ones that I think we tend to forget about the not so good ones that they did.
What do you think's the worst one either has done?
I don't know. I'll be honest, I haven't seen that many of the really bad ones because I heard how bad some of them were, and then I just didn't bother watching them. Because most of the movies I've seen that they did, I actually did like. It's the ones you hadn't heard about that I hear aren't that good.
Some of the comedies that both of them tried to do, I wasn't a huge fan
Yeah,
of.
neither of them were good at comedy. I would say one of the weaker ones for Arnold was like Commando. I still liked it and thought it was good, but I didn't think it was anywhere near on par with like
that was his
Terminator or
answer
Predator.
to Rambo.
Right, and it was a far less effective Rambo.
And you notice that you've been talking, but the camera's still on me.
It's still on you. Look at that. Hey, there I am. I'm back again.
I'm just trying to find the answer to your question. Arnold has killed 369 people. Sylvester Stallone on screen has killed 239.
Man, Arnold's whooped him on that too.
Yeah.
You can't say kill though on TikTok, so make sure you edit that out.
Yeah.
And
It's fine.
then,
We're not putting it on TikTok.
guess who has the most on-screen deaths?
Sean Bean.
Neither one of them.
As far as how many times he died.
I would have thought it would have been one of them.
Per the internet, it's Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know
What
why.
movie would that
I
have
don't
been?
know. I don't know why.
Yeah, I can't think of one right now. That he killed a lot of people in Star Wars as Mace Windu. He killed a lot of
Not
robots
that-
and
not
stuff.
I thought it
many,
would
though.
probably be Keanu Reeves with John Wick, but
Nah, that's a good point. John Wick movies are pretty good too.
Yeah. Either way, they're both iconic. I like both Arnold and Stallone. They're both top tier.
That's another one that was surprising to me. Like Arnold and Stallone, pretty believable as action heroes. When they had Keanu Reeves play Neo in The Matrix, I, especially as a martial artist, I love the movie. I love the concept and everything, but
Let's see if she's gonna notice.
I don't know. Maybe I should just.
There you are.
Maybe if I stop talking, then it'll be a cue. Again,
There's been a
Josh,
lot of switching.
she's giving. I know, but he does this and looks
Yeah.
the stuff up like he does it literally every time we're doing it. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah. Oh, his
It's
martial
the
arts.
online shopping too, though.
His martial arts sucked. Keanu Reeves in the beginning, and then you could
Yeah.
see the evolution because he kept training. His technique got better as those movies went on, but to me, he wasn't as believable as an action star in the beginning as like a Stallone and an Arnold was.
Yeah, but through time, he's proven through his gun combat
Oh yeah, no,
skills and
well,
whatnot.
because he got dedicated to it.
Yeah.
So like he goes to Terran Tactical, which is the big. They do real tactical training, but now they've sort of gotten in this niche of training these movie stars to do tactical training. And they do the 3 gun shoots, which is where they have like an AR-15 platform, a handgun, and a shotgun. And they taught him all the stuff. So on screen, he does accurate transitions. Plus, he continued to train in jiu-jitsu and kung fu systems, and I think he did Krav Maga. And so he's now got multiple years as a martial artist, and you can tell like he looks the part.
My favorite Keanu Reeves move he'll do in the John Wick movies, I don't know how effective it would be in real life, but it visually looks cool, is when he'll like do the punch with the gun while shooting it. Like he won't just like hold the gun up and shoot. He'll do like that with it when he fires. I don't know. It looks cool to me. I'm like, that visually is.
Yeah, you can hit somebody with it. Now,
Yeah.
he does a lot of stuff that's tactical, like the way
Yeah.
he does the reloads and the gun transitions. Those things I think are taken for granted by most people that would watch movies. But if you have any tactical training, that's a huge thing, and it takes a lot of training to make it second nature to do those transitions so smoothly.
Well, also the directors and cinematographers of those movies do something that they don't do a whole lot in other action films, where they actually show the action. So they'll frame it so that you see everything that's happening. Whereas a lot of directors will like close in really close on the action, or they'll edit it where they're cutting between takes so quick that you can't tell what's really happening or what's going on, and it's trying to create the illusion of chaos and action. And it's like, no, just like film, let it happen. If you have good choreography, you don't have to like hide stuff with your cuts or your edits. You can just show what's happening on screen, and that's why I think the John Wick movies are so effective.
Have you seen Fist of the North Star?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it. Yeah.
So it was a late 80s, early 90s film. I want to say it was based on a comic book. But it's got, I forget what actors are in it, but they're really good martial artists. It's kind of a campy film. But I remember it made an impression on me that it was really good. It was really good. It had good martial arts and good action sequences. And honestly, if I had to pick one action movie or one martial arts movie, I don't know, man. Bloodsport's hard to beat. I think my number one martial arts movie might be Bloodsport. But like, there's another one. I guess if I pick my top 3, you got Bloodsport, which had Jean-Claude Van Damme. There's Fist of Legend, that's a Jet Li movie. It's I guess Hong Kong film, but it's really good. It's really good. It's got awesome history of martial arts where it's got like it's a Chinese stylist versus a Japanese stylist, old school, and anyway, it's really good. There's a fight between him and this karate master in this like reed field, sort of samurai films,
Right,
you know,
very samurai.
And as they're fighting, they're each adjusting to the other's style. It's really filmed really well, at least from a martial arts perspective. Anyway, if you haven't seen those, you ought to check those out for the fight scene stuff in them. It's really good. I thought that Star Wars movie, which one is it? The one where it might have been Rogue One, where it started off and it was like Red Planet, and the guy was come out and he's wearing the white outfit. And there's a little kid running around.
It's got to be Rogue One. When
I think it was Rogue One.
It was on a red planet though,
or whatever color the stuff was.
Yeah.
They were on it, and it was like. Maybe it wasn't red. Maybe it was like a swampy field. But anyway, the way they filmed it was an homage to like those samurai
was probably
movies.
Rogue One. Yeah. Well, George Lucas was very inspired by Kurosawa and those early samurai type movies. And a lot of the framing, they've even carried some of that over into like The Mandalorian and the Ahsoka TV show and some of the Star Wars shows where they're matching the cinematography is matching what Kurosawa did in a lot of the early samurai stuff. And there's even side-by-sides you can look at where they'll have like a Jedi standing in the foreground with like a temple in the background, and it's exactly like a shot from an old black and white samurai movie. People don't realize how inspirational those early samurai films were to like modern cinema and how people frame shots.
Those and Westerns.
And Westerns. Well, Westerns were also, again, inspired by the samurai.
Star Wars is really a Western.
Yeah,
it's a space Western.
It's a space Western, yeah.
That's how he filmed it. And I think that the reason the newer, Mandalorian, especially the first season, I think the reason it worked is they went back to filming it like a Western. It's
more Western than in some ways than the original trilogy was, which is why it's even more effective in some regards.
He shows up in the town and handles whatever, and then he goes off into the sunset.
And there's the old samurai, I don't know if you'd call it a genre or what, but it was like, it's called The Wolf and the Cub, which is basically the concept of like a warrior who takes on like either a child or, something that's helpless or, a poor animal. And in this case, it's Grogu, the baby Yoda that he's carrying around. And so he has to see after this child. So all of it's pulled from, those old early, Japanese samurai movies and stuff.
Yeah. So what do you think on the Disney properties has been the best so far? The number one best Disney property that they've produced across the board?
Everything modern and old.
No, well, I'm just talking about that's sort of when they bought Marvel forward, when they
bought took
over Star Wars. What do you think's the best thing they've produced?
It would probably has two for me. It'd probably be the first Iron Man movie, and then Rogue One would be the top, because they've also, for every phenomenal film that they've made or TV show that they've done that's really, really good, they've also created some of the worst content that I've ever seen on top of some of the best content. I agree. It's a wide range.
Most of the most recent Marvel stuff
has been terrible.
I can't even watch it.
A lot of it's been really, really bad. And, I won't go on my whole tangent, but I thought that the sequel trilogy, particularly Episode 8 of Star Wars, was one of the worst films ever made. I thought that Rian Johnson just did a terrible, terrible job with it. So Disney's been very hit or miss. But then on the other hand, I thought Rogue One and I thought The Mandalorian is some of the best Star Wars we've ever gotten. So it's depending on whoever they got directing or writing it, I guess.
My favorite of the Marvel movies is probably Thor Ragnarok. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good mix of action and humor.
It's definitely not my favorite, but it's good. I'm one of those weird people that actually prefers the very first Thor movie from 2011. I liked when they were taking the character more serious and were treating him like, So
the comic book has gone back and forth. The comic book has had phases where it's like with any long-term hero. There was phases where it was very serious and he's like literally the god of thunder, and then it was campy. It's gotten in a campy phase. And so I don't know. I just really liked the mix. And then I guess, I liked all of the first run that they had, the Captain America, Iron Man, all that stuff was good. But when they had the first Avengers, literally the scene where they're going around them and the Battle
circular,
of New York, that was iconic, I think.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh man, they're all here.
No, all of Phase 1 is unmatched. I think Phase 1 is phenomenal. The first Avenger, that first Thor, the first Iron Man, all of it, the first Avengers movie. And then after that, I think a lot of the stuff they produced was still really good, even into Phases 2 and Phase 3 of the MCU. But now Phase 4 forward, everything post Endgame for the most part, it's just not been very.
Are you gonna go
very
see
good.
Aquaman?
Probably just because I'm such a movie nerd, but I'm not super excited about
You
it.
have a low
A
expectation.
very low expectations,
You'll probably be like, it was great because you're expecting it to suck so bad.
Probably, yeah. I mean, James Wan's directing it, whom I like, but I wasn't just, huge fan of the first Aquaman movie. I thought it was okay. I thought it was all right. I felt like there was a bunch of randomness in it. Like, I thought it was really obscure. Like, there's one scene where, in the first one, I just recall this, where he is on an island or something. It may even be underwater, and there's, like, random dinosaurs running around for no reason. And nobody ever explains or mentions why there's dinosaurs there. It's just... like, here they are. I was like, okay, well, that's cool. I guess that's a thing.
I'm just sad because we haven't seen Godzilla yet around there. In the
Yeah.
water, swimming around.
Yeah, they may add him next.
Yeah. So Madeline, Josh is the reason we saw Godzilla. What did you think of Godzilla -1?
Well, it's the first and only Japanese subtitled movie I've ever seen in the theater. Probably the last.
It does require a good bit of reading to have to sit there and,
I thought Godzilla looked like a Transformer play toy that somebody was using in the bathtub. But other than that, it was pretty. That actual acting was good.
Yeah, I thought that the characters were good. I did not like the Godzilla creature.
Yeah, no, I loved everything about it.
Yeah.
I think the lens you got to look at it through, though, is, again, how little money they spent on it, and then compare that to your Marvels and your Western film studios that are spending these insane $400 million plus budgets on these movies, and then wondering why they're not making their money back. Because not only are they spending $300 plus million on the movie, they're not focused on actually telling a good. Oh, look, it's only on Jerry again. Am I going to show? There I am. Because they're not only spending all these insane amount of money on these movies, but they're also not focused on just telling a good story. They're focused more on messaging and things like that rather than making a good piece of entertainment. Whereas this movie, they were like, oh, look what we're going to do is, as Japanese filmmakers, we're going to spend $5 on this movie and we're going to not fill it with a bunch of messaging. Instead, we're just going to focus on making a really solid piece of entertainment, as solid a piece of entertainment as we can make for $5. So I think the message in that is, even if you didn't like it, if the movie's that solid, imagine how good it could have been had they had the budget of one of these big Western movies.
I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah.
Don't misunderstand me. It was a good movie. I mean, it was a good movie in general. But I was going into it, I guess, with the monster film, and it's really not a monster film. It's really like a romance about a PTSD survivor, really. I mean, that's kind of what it is. And Godzilla is just sort of an extra factor.
It's more of a natural disaster movie, and how the characters are affected by the natural disaster, which is what the original Godzilla movie was. So that's kind of that's the lens I looked at it through. But yeah, the Godzilla kind of had been changed over the years from what he originally was, which was he was this natural disaster thing. And
Kaiju!
And then later it became, now he's going to be like this Barney type character that's bouncing around for the kids and doing goofy stuff, and look how funny he is. And, the campy, I wasn't a fan of the campy, cartoonish Godzilla. I like him when he's this monster and he's this threatening presence. And there's only been really 4 Godzilla movies that he's been like that in. The other 20 plus, he's been like a cartoon character. So
Mega Godzilla!
Yeah. Gojira.
All right. Well, I think Madeline and I are fixing to have to go to this thing, and she's not gonna. Her fingers are getting tired from all this,
From all the flipping.
all of the not swapping, and instead shopping online. So, we'll tell everybody one more time, Josh, to find your stuff.
You can find me. It's Mason Studios on YouTube, and then you can go to masonitemarketing.com. It's just going to be on you the rest of the time. There we are. Mason Studios on YouTube, masonitemarketing.com. If you need me for commercials or web design or graphic design or any digital marketing services, you can find me there. But those are the two main places to go to find me.
Cool. Well, as always, I love you.
Love you too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I love you guys. And I want to remind you, if you haven't, to make sure you like and follow the content. We'll have to give Josh time to get over there to click our stuff. And we're available on all social media platforms, all podcast platforms, also on TikTok. So make sure you check us out. We would appreciate some more YouTube follows. For whatever reason, I haven't picked up. They've been on there for years. We got great TikTok, but not so much YouTube. And then, of course, Inside My Head by N.A. the Band. Download and support those guys, local guys. We want to help them out. Michelle Allen, if you're looking into anything with real estate, she'd be glad to help you out. Also, as I said, she's just a good local community leader. She'd be glad to hear from you and help you if you need anything in the area. Mason's High Octane Martial Arts has been in Covington now for 30 years and just opened a location in Millington, Tennessee. So visit masonsmartialarts.com. We have classes for all ages, so please give us a check out. Jam Books and Records, located in Covington, hopefully should be open real soon on the Covington Square. Please come check us out. It's new and used books and records and lots of other cool stuff we're going to have in there. And then, of course, Masonite Digital Marketing. We discussed things with Josh today. If you're trying to do any kind of branding, commercial development, anything like that, social media marketing, Josh will help you, masonitemarketing.com. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a good rest of the week. Till I see you on the next Law Talk, keep kicking. Thanks for watching, guys. Just remember that this is not legal advice or investment advice or business advice. This is for fun and entertainment purposes only.